shit. We got a big fish down here, man.
Oh, yeah? How big?
You're listening to League Podcast, The War on Christmas, Jaws the Revenge. I'm Matt Darrison.
And I'm author Henry Hunt Hank Searles. No, I'm just kidding. John Hunt.
Clay Van Ferno Jr. here.
All right.
By the way,
welcome.
Hank Searles is the author of the Jaws the Revenge novelization.
I understood that reference.
Ah,
I remember that. I think we'll be talking about that. So in case people don't know, because there's stuff. A lot of people talk about this movie, right? And they talk about how it's one of the worst movies, or one of the worst horror movies, or just in general,
Is it one of the worst Christmas movies?
But it is a Christmas movie. What do they call that? The McLean Catwoman scale, or something like that, or some kind of.
Even Lance guessed himself when asked, "Is Jaws the Revenge a Christmas movie?" His response was, "Sure." So.
And I do have to say, now, Clay, I'm not throwing shade, but in your emails, you refer to it frequently as Jaws 4. The official title is Jaws the Revenge.
Oh,
Jaws
Clay.
Christmas special.
Oh, Clay. Jaws Christmas special.
Well, I thought it was Jaws 4, even though this was probably I probably saw this movie before I saw the original Jaws, if that's at all possible.
Holy
I
shit.
I feel like this movie was on cable all the time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
In the late 80s. I remember watching an Entertainment Tonight thing where they kept referring to it as Jaws 87.
Oh, interesting.
It was also at one point called Jaws the Return. But since Jaws isn't like a Jedi, it won't just return. It needed revenge. So they changed it.
Did you guys ever see, just while we're talking about this, did you guys ever see, maybe when we were talking about Back to the Future, that somebody made like a movie trailer that listed all of the Jaws?
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
It's really funny.
What was the one I think it was Jaws 19 or something in that,
Yes.
in Back to the Future 2?
They have a title for every single number of the movies that don't exist.
So that was I feel like this was kind of the start of a thing that happened where they stopped numbering sequels because they thought that people wouldn't see them after like 3, you know what I mean? Or even after 2, a lot of them, or then sometimes even after 1. But like a lot of movies franchises, would be like, if you put the number too high, it makes it seem like it's kind of shitty.
Well, you know what? They were wrong because no one went and saw this except me and at the time.
All right, so we might as well talk about this now, because I remember you went to see it. I never saw it in the theaters, and I remember you telling me about the ending, and then I saw it on video, and it was a different ending. Slightly different ending. So they shot this, and it was received so poorly
that like less than a week later they were doing reshoots.
Like after. Like it was in theaters, not even like, the test audiences. Like it was out there. People paid to see it.
Yeah, the production on this, they were still doing principal photography less than a month before its release date.
Yeah, it only took 9 months from like start to finish. Like
even Durst and the Firestarter took longer than that.
Yeah, I mean they wanted to get it out by summer. Universal was in pretty rough shape apparently.
Quality be damned.
Yeah, right. Howard the Duck almost sunk them. And they were like, and we have this ride, a Jaws ride. Let's put out another Jaws movie.
They were like, hey, Roy Scheider, would you like to come back? And he was out of the question.
No, he said something about like Satan himself couldn't make him do it or something like that.
Yeah.
It was some kind of quote. I mean, oof. So they killed him off.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. So
lots of flashbacks to the original movie in this. A lot of cutaways to that. Put a little bit of filler in it.
One of my favorite quotes when I was doing a little reading on this, one review said, "Nothing kills a sequel faster than reverence. Like reverence to the original." But so Sid Sheinberg he needed to make a movie. He got his wife to come back, Lorraine Gary, his wife. And she had come out of retirement, and then this was it. She never did another.
Well, that's probably shamed into retirement again after this one.
I was listening to How Did This Get Made for this episode, which is a delightful podcast I'm sure you guys have listened to before.
Oh, yeah.
I like all those guys on there. But I never really actually sat and listened to an episode, and it was great. And their guest had said that she was married to the studio head of Universal at the time of Jaws 1. That's how she got the job.
And I don't know if they were still married, but they still had some kind of,
Yeah, they were still married. And here, another interesting fact is that the director, Joseph Sargent, I believe, shot this TV movie, The Marcus Welby Murders, which turned into the Kojak series. But that TV movie had Lorraine Gary in it. So there you go.
Wow.
Which Spielberg said that's how he cast her in the first Jaws, but I really think that's because of his buddy.
Because probably, he's like, hey, can you put my wife
Sheinberg? Yeah.
I need some money for a fake shark. What? I'll let you put your wife in it.
Here you go. I'll sign you a check right now.
So Sargent, I read an interview with Sargent, Josh. I don't even remember his name. Josh Sargent.
Joseph Sargent.
Joseph Sargent.
Director of The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh, very well.
That's a fine movie. Fine movie it is.
Done real stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying there's anything. I just didn't know his first name. I knew it was a J, like Yogg, like maybe a soft J. So it said there was some desperation to find something new to do with the shark, and so he thought maybe taking a mystical point of view or whatever. I don't understand that logic.
That was a dumb idea.
Yeah, like
not the way to go.
People just want to see sharks eat people. I don't think you need to do anything fancy with it at all.
You didn't need to reinvent the wheel. In fact, you should have just taken the wheel you already had and then got a couple more and just done that. I know Jaws 3 was terrible, but at least they were sticking with the formula.
Yeah, shark eating people.
Yeah.
That's it. This is like, okay, well.
I would also I have another quote from Joseph Sargent about what he said about the movie afterwards, and he said, "How do grown men with great credentials get involved with something so idiotic?" That's great.
Well, we know what happened. We know Michael Caine. I'm sure you guys probably read the same quote that I did. Michael Caine's quote sort of famously said that he's never seen the movie. Apparently it stinks, and he's correct. But he was able to take the $1.5 million he made and bought his mom a house. So he's like, I've seen the house that it made, and that's pretty nice. So, and he missed the Oscars because they were doing reshoots down in the Bahamas. So,
and also
he won the Oscar.
Yeah, he won the Oscar,
but not for this, obviously.
No, not for this. For Hannah and her sisters.
And part of the reason that he wanted to do it was like, Bahamas movie, sure, I'll go to the Bahamas.
He was like, vacation. Oh, my good buddies Roger Moore, and I'm sounding like Cary Grant. I don't sound like Michael Caine at all. Roger Moore and Sean Connery both have places here, and we can go golfing. And so he viewed it as a vacation that he got paid for, essentially.
Yeah, essentially. We always sometimes go like, oh, how does that actor do that movie? And that's usually the money is usually
and Michael Caine has a lot of those movies, paycheck.
Yeah, paycheck movies, but a lot.
He did say it was nice to have a leading lady co-star that was the same age as him rather than someone much younger. So. Yeah,
and apparently Lorraine Gary was a woman. She was looking forward to, a woman. And she was looking forward to it. She's like, oh yeah, I get to.
Michael Caine. Get Carter himself.
All right, before we get into the plot, now I know
Carter can get it.
When we were kids, John and I, and we loved Jaws, the original Jaws.
Yeah,
and, I still do. It's one of my favorite. But there was a lot of talk back then about real shark shots. Sometimes they would shoot, shots of real sharks and whatever. We know the first Jaws, the fake shark Bruce didn't work a lot. and stuff like that. So like this one, they used there were 7 fake sharks.
Lazy bum doesn't want to work.
Union.
Yeah, it's America. You got to pick yourself up by your dorsal fin and get out there and work. Earn your keep.
But anyway, maybe you can enlighten me or and the listener a little bit about this. The shark, apparently in this one, or the fake, all the sharks were sort of hydraulic. They said, like, I don't know what that exactly means, but like the fake sharks they had like this hydraulic system inside of them. Is that why it kind of like lurched around a lot in the water?
I think they also, from what I was listening to an interview with Lance Guest this morning, he talked about that the shark did not work particularly well. He's like, we got through all the acting scenes in like 3 weeks, and then it was just sitting around trying to get that shark to work. So they didn't perfect whatever technology.
Whatever it was, it didn't work.
And this shark looks worse than
horrible
everything else. Like yeah. I know there's like they had done this thing to make it look like his jaws coming out, like how real great whites like loosen their jaws when they go to bite, but instead it just looked like he had an itchy nose, like it was like twitching. It was just weird looking. And sometimes when it's not shown in the proper aspect ratio, you can see all the
hydraulic
hanging.
Thing. Yeah,
all
like
the stuff hanging out. And that people always like to point to that as this being a dumb movie. I was like, well, it's just because it's not being shown correctly.
Yeah, if it's on 4:3, you can apparently see, or at least the original, when it was originally shown on the BBC television in 4:3 format. Yeah, you could see like some of the hydraulics and some of the shots. Though, yeah, those are the least of the movie's problems. That's not. But we should point out that I want to say that when I saw this at 14, I rather enjoyed it. But I guess I haven't seen it in a long time because I just remember at least it being like fairly entertaining. And it's kind of boring, I kind of realized like not a lot of shark attacks in this movie about a shark.
I was thinking too. I was like, wait, I thought there was way more shark attacks in this than there are. It just must have been
only like 2,
melding them all together in all the Jaws movies in my mind together.
Well, before we'll get into the plot in one quick second, but I just want to point out, speaking of the fake sharks and everything, the movie won the Razzie that year for worst visual effects.
It was also nominated for about 8.
Yeah, it got nominated for a lot of them. Only took home one golden Razzie, but well deserved.
And the shark couldn't even attend the Razzies because
because of the reshoots.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
He was busy shooting a Woody Allen film.
All right. Well, let's get into this.
He did the Woody Allen film just for the paycheck.
He needed to buy a house.
Yeah.
We start off the way all Jaws movies start, basically. It's the swimming and the cool music. At least they had that, like, right?
Yeah.
John Williams music.
I think the score and Michael Caine are the best 2 parts of this movie.
Yeah, and I'm going to say Lance Guest is
actually
pretty good.
All the actors do a fine job.
Yeah, but, hot wife.
Yeah.
No problem with her.
Nope.
She's she likes to have sex. That one.
Well, I'm going to bring that up.
Height of her horniness.
Right. We'll get there. All right, so we cut to the Brody kitchen, and she's making a fish.
Can I ask, does anyone here eat fish? Because I do not. Is that how you cook a fish? Because it does.
Yes.
I don't know. She's just frying it up in the pan.
Yes, you're asking a key question, which is, this is like supposed to be like a clever dissolve, a la something you might find in a movie like Dress in the Firestarter, where it's like you think it's the shark's eye, but it's really the eye of the fish that she's frying in the skillet. Oh man,
that would have been some fish and Skittles.
In order to maintain the integrity of the full fish flavor, you would sometimes cook the fish, especially if you caught the fish yourself, with the head on, And then some people like to eat the cheeks out of trout and stuff like that. So you can cook a fish and then serve it even like that with the head on, but you might only eat the body of the fish. That's the answer to that question.
Wow, thank you. That's great.
I would also like to point out the really strange, like how it tracks the hand to the refrigerator shot too.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It looks all shaky. And
yeah,
weird.
It's like they did it in post.
That's not even Ellen Brody's hand.
Yeah,
it's some guy. It's like some man, or whatever. Anyways, I would like to point out too the way they point out you're like your father was.
Oh yes,
he used to do that. Like
he was always stealing tomatoes.
Yeah, like he was the tomato thief of all time. Like, okay, so I guess this is like just in case you're not paying attention, Martin Brody is dead.
Yeah,
and then
you know what killed him? Fear.
Yeah, well we'll get there, but yeah, we got a phone call.
Here's a little knowledge drop. The guy who plays Sean now runs a restaurant in Atlanta.
Oh. How about that?
The Fish Head Restaurant.
Yeah, all they do is just serve fish heads. Yeah.
Roly-poly tomatoes.
He was learning to cook. He took the Jaws the Revenge. He was like, I'm going to do something with this. Yeah.
He spent like 3 days in that kitchen. He's like, you know what? This is good. I'm going to cook.
I like this. I'm going to, this is making me rethink my career path.
So anyways, yeah, they get a phone call. We learn Michael, the older brother, is in the Bahamas, works down there, and he's got a kid. And so this is Sean. I mean, if you know the Jaws movies, these are this family's been in there the whole time. Although, what's his name? Dennis Quaid played Michael in Jaws 3.
They decided that they were just going to ignore what happened in Jaws 3.
Right.
And in the promotional materials for this, it said Jaws the Revenge is the third part of the Jaws trilogy. So
what the hell was Jaws 3D?
The multiverse of madness over here.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Wow. I wonder if Tobey Maguire's going to show up.
Yeah, maybe he'll just wander in, be like, hey. So it's kind of so there's a funny line. They're really playing it up like Sean is this happy-go-lucky. He's got this hot fiance, and he's like, we're going to put out cookies and a bottle of beer for Santa, which I should point out, we used to also put out a bottle of beer for Santa, not milk, because my dad didn't like milk. So that actually made me feel good.
What
even
does
in
your dad have to do with it?
Oh, very
Dad's not Santa.
If you're listening, kids, which you're not.
I really hope you're not. We're going to say some stuff.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, my family used to also put out beer and crackers usually because you don't want cookies and beer. That's weird. But anyway, yeah. So but they're really playing it off like Sean. Oh, Sean is great. What a guy. And he's also the deputy in Amity on Amity Island. He's following his father's footsteps. He goes to the police department. There's a different Polly. This isn't the same actress.
Not the same one.
Who played Polly.
Sad.
But there's a secretary there named Polly. And they've got Chief Brody's picture on the wall.
Yeah, they're like, here's a nice publicity shot from Jaws 2 or something.
Yeah, right. So he's got to go get out this piece of wood from it's caught in a buoy out there. This is the other interesting thing. This is the first time I ever heard a reference to cow tipping.
Yeah.
She says that Lenny Hendricks, who was also a different actor when they show him later, but Lenny had to go out to whoever's place cow tipping. And cow tipping is apparently a thing, but I didn't know it at the time. I was like, what the hell are they talking about?
Well, just go and read that first issue of Badger that I colored years ago.
Oh.
It had cow tipping at the beginning of it.
I remember it was in Heathers. That was the next time I saw it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah, that's the same year this one came out. But cow tipping was very big in the.
This movie is so 80s, 1987. It could not be more 1987 if it tried. Cow tipping.
Yeah, cow tipping.
Everyone looks thin, and Americans aren't all fat yet.
Yeah, they got some. They got that nice feathered hairdo on the guys, you know.
Yeah.
And the girls too.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so he takes the boat out. Meanwhile, they're like right on the water. They're doing this Christmas pageant thing, and they're all singing
Is it a
very
pageant
loudly.
or is it a rehearsal?
I guess it's the rehearsal.
The guy keeps yelling at them to do it right.
Yeah.
Joseph, you should get your robot. Why don't you have your robot?
Yeah, and I feel like I kind of like it's kind of a funny line where he says Jesus, and then you hear a kid say, "I'm over here." So it's like Jesus.
That is
I mean, I
funny.
don't know.
I didn't even notice that.
I don't know if that's the kid who's playing Jesus, because Jesus would have been a baby in the Christmas pageant. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still kind of funny. All right, so he takes the boat out, and he's doing the wood thing. He's trying to get the wood out of there, and then all of a sudden, a shark comes out of the water, and it's already bleeding.
Yeah, it's already
from the mouth.
from later in the movie.
The shark has blood coming out of its mouth somehow, and it bites his arm off in this just cavalcade of edits that have nothing. Like it's just
thank you for saying it like that.
And it literally has a Durst in the fire starting like okay, he bit your arm off, so maybe just put your arm in your shirt.
Yeah, just tuck your arm in.
What we did in Durst and the Firestarter is we actually had someone get their hand cut off, and then we had our neighbor, Yo's dog, picked it up and ran off with it.
Yeah,
that's a joke. That's a joke. I tell you.
Rubber hand. Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
I know. Like this guy gets his arm cut off. He falls into the boat.
The dog should have come up and grabbed the arm away from the shark.
Pippet or
is it Pippet or Tippet? I can't remember.
Or something like the dog from the first one. But I love it. He kind of fixes his hat after he gets.
Well, yeah. I mean, you want to look good when your arm is bleeding out, right?
So apparently, and he's like, "Help!" And
here's
they
my
cut
problem
into the
with
singing.
this.
Okay.
Why is he yelling help? Go use the fucking radio, you idiot.
He's only got one arm.
Well, and you can operate a radio with the other one.
So supposedly, I guess. I mean, it's kind of the intercutting with the children singing is kind of cool. I mean,
I like it. It's good.
It's okay. We're having a laugh. But yeah, I mean, like you're the police deputy. Show a little courage, man.
Yeah, or some common sense or something.
Yeah. So then, he gets dragged into the water.
Or be more in pain and oh my God, my arm is cut off. He's not. He's kind of pretty calm. I mean, he is yelling for help, but he's not. I just got my arm bit off.
We back when the movie came out, there was a making of that played on the local North Dakota TV 38 channel. I still have it recorded.
Oh my God!
I would just have to have Durson come here and hook the VCR up for me.
Oh right.
But I remember the interview with him when he's talking about. He's like, "Tonight, I'm gonna get my arm bitten off by a shark," and it's just very weird.
Very laid back about it. Well, then he gets dragged into the water, and there's more just cuts and there's this weird ripping of clothes sound, which is it's like. It's kind of weird sound effect. I don't know. It's very bizarre. But yeah, in the other movies, it was always kind of you don't always see the shark, or sometimes it's one bite or whatever, and then it's gone, or the person's just dragged underwater. They never had this quick cut version of shark attacking a person before. It's very
because they didn't have the shark there, probably.
Yeah, it's really good.
But I did after he sinks down that the piece of wood comes back up to the surface. That was
that was pretty cool. That was a nice touch. Yeah, the wood that killed him.
I said something nice. Don't expect it to happen again.
Yeah, and then the boat sinks too, which is kind of a sad sort of I don't know, the Amity.
You'll be able to use the radio now.
Yeah, the Amity police launch boat is dragged under.
Or more like lunch boat to the shark.
That's right. Not launch, but lunch.
You can edit that out. That was bad.
They probably have a big budget for new boats in Amity Harbor. Every year they probably get a new one.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, so we get, I guess it's the next day, Ellen Brody comes down to identify the body. He gives, and like I said, the other Lenny, New
Lenny.
He hands her his gun, which I don't think you should.
I don't think
you
even
do
a
that. Here, pick his gun. I mean, it really is easy to get firearms, in this country. But I don't think the cops generally just hand you them.
In the 80s, it was even easier, apparently.
Anyway, so Michael and his fam show up to the old. Is that the same house? The same Brody house?
Yes, it is. It's the same house, and also a bunch. Mrs. Kittner is there.
Yeah.
And so is the lady that's like, I didn't think that was funny. I didn't think that was funny at all. And
are
that guy
you going to close the beaches?
And that guy that looks like Fozzie Bear.
The guy who just put his suntan lotion on?
Yeah, that guy, because he's the new mayor. They were originally wanted Murray Hamilton to come back, but he was battling with cancer, so he couldn't.
Yeah, and he has since passed. Not Murray. But yes, he has since passed on. But apparently one of the nicest guys in the world, which is contrast to him playing such a dick as the mayor.
Slimy.
Yeah. But anyways, so we meet Thea Brody. I guess we should talk about this poor girl.
Speaking of tragic stories.
Good Lord. Sad. Oh, God.
I didn't know this story until today.
Yeah. I didn't know it, but you mentioned it last week when we were talking about doing this. Looked it up, and it is. Ugh. So her name is Judith Barcy, and she was like 10 years old. She did this and a couple other movies, a lot of commercials,
bunch of stuff. Like if you look at her, like
she was doing like voiceover work,
Wikipedia and stuff. Yeah, she was in Land Before Time, which was a movie that I loved when I was a little kid. That was like a big deal. And then I had like younger cousins and stuff, so like I would like always watch it with them. But she's in a ton of credits, and like I guess her dad was kind of like a crazy alcoholic, and like she made like all this money, and they bought a house and stuff.
No, she was like the bread. She was the breadwinner for the family.
But dad was a crazy person, and murder suicide.
Yikes! And then burned the house down.
R.I.P.
The neighbor saw the house was on fire, and but he found them all shot to death. She's like, God,
up, man. That's
terrible. I know.
Lance Guest had said that during filming that the mother was always very nervous looking, and they just thought it was just due to, nerves about the kid or this and that. They had no idea it was going. He ended up being a pallbearer at her funeral as well.
Jeez. Yeah. Just sad. We're having fun, at this movie's expense because whatever, because it's fun. But terrible real life story there. It's woof. But anyway, so Thea's, she's being all cute and as she is throughout.
She's great.
She's actually really good for a 10-year-old or whatever, 8, 9, whatever she was. She is. Yeah. Michael goes out to see his mom, who's sitting. She's just standing out at the water, and she hugs him and says, "It came for him." So this is the beginning of like sort of the theme.
This time it's personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't even mention that this time it's personal.
Yeah, that has become. Not only did Jaws 2's tagline, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, take off. This one also is much used and much parodied.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the biggest the legacy of this film is the tagline.
Even more than Michael Caine's Mother's House.
Yeah.
This is it's personal. So this is like the mystical thing that the director was talking about, the element.
Well, should we mention the parts in the book? What happens? Or
do you want? Yeah, go for it, because I feel like what I was gonna say was maybe in the book, but I don't know the source of it. So you go ahead, John. Drop that knowledge.
Oh, okay. In the book, there's a voodoo witch doctor that puts like a curse on the Brodies.
Yeah.
And essentially sends the shark after them.
Like something Jacques or something like that?
Yeah, it's like Papa Jacques.
Papa Jacques.
And in the book, even like there are chapters that are from the shark's point of view, and the shark is actually confused as to why it's doing stuff. It's like, geez, this isn't like how I normally feel. Why am I doing this thing?
He's like, well, did somebody did a lot of people peeing in the water, because the water sure is warm down here. This is a lot warmer than where I used to.
Well, all right, we should also say that after we decided to do this a few days ago, a person from North Dakota went to the Bahamas and was killed by a shark.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking weird, the timing.
Weird?
Yeah. I was going to say maybe we shouldn't mention that, But since you did, and that we don't think that is funny.
No, of course not.
No, God no.
But so I was curious about this. So I asked, and it said, on average, there are about 10 shark-related deaths reported worldwide each year. It's essential to note that this number can fluctuate and is relatively low compared to other causes of fatalities. That's just a real fact from the world.
All right. Very good.
Thank
so
you
if
for that
you
number.
are scared to go back in the water, which I would, if I was a Brody, let's say, if my last name was Brody, I might move to, I don't know,
North
Las Vegas,
North Dakota, yeah.
North
Right.
Dakota,
Go to Nebraska or something?
Montana,
Like,
Yellowstone, or
Siberia.
something, anywhere
Yeah.
where there's just not even a possibility of getting in the water, going back in the water, getting revenge in the water, voodoo stuff. I would just move far away from the sharks, personally.
well, Ellen Brody, at least in this scene, agrees with you because she comes down. They're at the house later. She comes down and says, I want you to get out of the water, because Michael is he's a, what is he, a marine biologist, I think?
Yeah, just like George Costanza.
Just like George. Well, he's about to get his PhD, and she's like, get out of the water. I don't want anybody in my family ever going near the water ever, even though they live on an island. Like Amity Island.
Yeah. Maybe she was planning on leaving the island and selling the house and stuff.
Maybe. Although
I would.
As Chief Brody said, it's only an island if you look at it from the water.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so like we learn in this scene, the only thing of any significance really in this scene is that we learn that. Well, no, that Martin Brody died of a heart attack.
No, it was fear. Fear of the shark killed him.
Yeah, she says fear killed him.
How is that for Chief Brody, who faced down a shark right in his face twice?
Yeah.
Died of a heart attack of fear.
A guy who hated water, hated everything, and died of heart. So I mean, I guess that feeds Ellen Brody's theory, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
This is the I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I mean, a witch doctor makes more sense, really.
Do we want? Okay, I'm just gonna bring this up now. Like, I used to think back in the day when I saw this movie that, like, sure, like, you can believe Ellen, the grieving mother, thinks, oh, the shark came for my son because because it wanted revenge, because that's the name of the movie. But like Michael, the scientist, says, no, it's just, things just happen.
Well, also in Jaws 2, the woman says to Roy Scheider, sharks don't take things personally.
That's right. So I always kind of believed that. I was like, sure. I mean, there's that. I mean, crazy old Ellen Brody thinks the shark came for him, but
yeah,
we know that. Yeah, like,
she's lost 2 family members, and I just, as a 14-year-old, I just figured it was a different shark in the Bahamas, that it wasn't the same one. But
right.
According to everyone involved in the movie, it's the same shark. So
I mean, because, well, first of all, we are told in the movie that sharks don't go there. It's too warm. Like you said, too many people peeing in it.
Yeah.
But
although,
I don't,
recent data has shown that great whites actually do like water. But...
Yeah, recent data, like the other day when that poor...
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was a great white that got her.
No, I guess you're right. We don't know. It was great. All right, so anyways, so they after the funeral, Ellen Brody is remembering clips from the first
she
movie.
She decides to break out a copy of the Good Jaws movie
on VHS. Yeah.
But their TV is crap, so it only plays it in like a
sepia. Yeah. I mean, she remembers things that she wasn't even there for.
She does that a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Remembrance stuff. She's like, well, that reminds me of the time that someone told me this. That would have been funny if she flashed back to the time that Chief Brody was actually telling her about shooting the shark at the end.
That's right. This is a crazy time. So that they mentioned, hey, Mom, you should come to the Bahamas for Christmas. Come home with us for Christmas. And that's why we watch this damn thing, because it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
so
it takes place at Christmas.
She agrees. They leave. He's like, we can catch the 4:30 ferry. Oh, my God. They're flying back tonight. They just had a funeral.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And the shark already had his plane
Yeah, the shark's
tickets.
like, oh, shit. Yeah, I better,
I better get, oh, crap. I'm gonna
Better
just
get to swimming.
Yeah.
And while they're on the ferry, having fun on the ferry with Thea, and Ellen starts to cry, then they pan down to that piece of driftwood again.
But also, okay, let's talk about I'm doing an airplane with Thea. You're too heavy. Let me do it. I'm going to throw you over the boat. You know, like, no, you're not playing almost getting bitten by a shark jokes when two members of your family have been eaten by sharks. Yeah, read the room.
Read the ferry, man.
You're like, I'm gonna. I think she says, "Gonna throw you overboard." It's like, no, you're not.
Look
John
out,
Oliver, you are not making that joke. You are not making that joke.
Oh yes, they are. I know it's a little cruel. Anyway, so now they're flying down, and we meet Michael Caine's Hoagie.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff about him in the novel.
Yeah, apparently he was like a drug runner or something.
But he was like an undercover FBI guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there was a whole subplot and like the mob and shit and like the drugs and all that stuff.
And also at the end of the movie, they're sort of like, well, what do you do? He's like, I do laundry.
Yeah, I deliver laundry. Yeah, I know. That's all they really. But it's all right. We'll get there.
They should have been. I mean, they should have built up his character a little more. I mean, you get Michael Caine.
Well, it's this whole red herring because like Michael is all like, I don't know. I don't like him. He's after my mother and all this stuff. And
I don't like hoagies. I like subs.
Yeah, I like. We call them.
I like the sub galley. I don't like hoagies.
But he's all talking about, I don't like it. He's, he's weird or whatever. He's moving in on my mom. And then he's like, what do you do?
Let her get some, motherfucker. Let her get some. He's the Golden Bachelor, for Christ's sakes.
It's this whole build up for I deliver laundry. Like all that stuff doesn't mean anything in the end,
It's kind of like Michael Caine is also like a multiverse version of him and all these other movies. He's like his James Bond archetype, even though he was never James Bond. He's like, I'm a mysterious old man that flies a plane, and then and I can just this is my little scooter boat that I scooty boot around the harbor. He just has a mystery about him. I think that's why she and I are so attracted to him in this movie.
Got a little thing for Hoagie. She does, they strike up a bit of a conversation and everything like that. But, anyways, there's an air of mystery.
It might be a little much if I was in the movie. If I was one of the characters in the movie, I was like, this guy is always just saying something. He's always just making a joke. About something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the time.
Yeah. I burned a letter. So they get back to the house. Thea wants to swing on her rope swing, which is over the water. And of course, Ellen is all like, Thea, get down from there. And the mom, Michael's wife, Carla. Yeah.
Right?
Hello.
Yeah. She says one of my favorite mom lines in the whole of life when she says, will you stop making a scene? Actually, I feel like that's something my mom said.
Mom's got a mom,
I know. Whoever wrote that actually definitely had a kid like me. Michael is showing her around, and Carla is an artist, I guess, and she's making this sculpture that Ellen sees a shark in it.
Yeah, dude, because it looks just like a shark.
It is a shark.
Everywhere I look, something reminds me.
She's definitely a trigger. She's triggered by it.
Yeah, right. Then she has a dream about getting eaten. All right, next we meet Michael is out. We meet Mario Van Peebles, Jake.
Yes. Michael.
let me talk about this for a second. I have to clear the air. I am a cis white male, and apparently Mario Van Peebles, he improvised his whole thing, his whole patois, his whole thing. It's on him, right?
Patois. That's a good word.
I'm not trying to be overly sensitive or PC, but he's a person of color. He has this really fucked up Jamaican accent that is like, it's actually kind of offensive. Like
it's stereotypical, but here's the thing.
Pretty bad. Of all, it's pretty bad.
He used to live in the Bahamas, he said. So
then maybe he knows that people in the Bahamas don't speak like they're Jamaican.
I mean, we don't know where Jake is from. He might be Jamaican. Jamaican
me crazy.
At least the one thing that makes me feel sort of okay with it was that it was his personal choice. They weren't like, hey, why don't you speak like a Jaman, like, or the guy from Futurama or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it was his choice, but it really does not play well in 2023. I was like, yeeks.
Yeah.
And I usually don't complain about stuff like that, but it was
I didn't really think
awkward.
Much of it. If it was Lance Guest doing it,
that would be
problem. But even
worse.
Lynn Whitfield has the same accent, so
yeah.
I just had to point that out, that I was slightly uncomfortable.
Well, I guess because I remember it from the 80s, and I didn't think much of it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not. I think it's just weird because he kind of goes in and out of it at times too.
Oh, definitely.
It does kind of fade away sometimes.
Anyways, they are tagging conchs, and Mike is in a submersible, sort of like a literally yellow submarine. And I don't know much about scuba diving and that kind of stuff. How are they talking? I mean, they're talking to each other over like a radio.
Yeah, like a radio.
I don't think at the time that technology existed, it does.
I don't think so either.
It does now, but I don't think it did then. But I was okay with it. It's fine.
Whatever.
They could do it in G.I. Joe words. I'm willing to go with it.
It seemed as if Mario Van Peebles had like an antenna that he was pointing at the water. Like it seems like a fictional thing that doesn't really exist, but it seems like they worked it into the story. Like, I'm holding the radio with the antenna, I'm pointing it down so I can talk to him. But I don't think that it's a real underwater.
I don't think Michael, he would have to breathe. He wouldn't be able to talk. You know what I mean? It's
built into the mask thing.
All right.
He doesn't have like a thing in his mouth. The whole that's my take on it.
It's built into his, like when Batman is always like diving into the water and he has a thing, he can still talk to Alfred.
They used them on Mythbusters when they would do underwater stuff. Talk. So that's really? How. There you go.
All right. So like 30 years later, they use them on Mythbusters.
20 anyway.
All right. 20 plus. All right. We'll whatever. No prize. We'll just go with it. But.
Yeah, suspension of disbelief for this whole fucking thing. This whole movie.
I mean, if this is going to be the thing you get hung up on. So.
No, I'm just saying. I know. We're going to be
It did remind me of the other tragedy where those dumb rich people were in that stupid submarine and then they poof exploded. That's what I was thinking about.
Oh, man. They were probably trying to talk underwater. Sorry. Anyways. So talk about reading the room. Michael goes back up and they're having kind of a fight. And Jake says, hey, what the hell, man? You go up, you leave me high and dry.
Yeah, and we're working on Christmas Eve overtime. It's like, wow. That's like,
it's my brother. I was at his funeral.
My brother
you dick.
died. What a shit.
My brother died after my father's dead too. So I mean, I'm like running out of family members here. Can you just be a little nicer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I was being kind of a dick about it, but he does still like kind of lay into him, and they're all like having slapping each other around on the deck.
So yeah, that was not a good line. But hey, they're buddies, and it happens. All right, so now we get So now we have Christmas at the Brodies, and we're talking all about Christmas and
Well, here's the first instance where they start talking about Michael and his wife having sex in front of Mrs. Brody. He's like, may your shirt be as...
Yeah, may your sex life be as busy as your shirt.
Yeah.
Because it's like a Hawaiian kind of shirt, right? And she's like, thank you. It's like, I mean, you think Ellen Brody was like, oh,
stop. Oh, God.
That's my son. Like,
it's
so
my
awkward.
Son. Yeah. And then it comes back. That happens later. It
happens later.
When she's like, I'm counting on a long sex life. And it's like, you know, if I ever said that to my mother-in-law, it would just be weird.
I know. So, anyways, then Ellen says you should find something else to do, and he's like, "No,
like
just
sex.
got a first rant." Yeah. And then they just cut to the shark swimming for no reason.
Just this weird, like there's no build up to the shark. You know, in the first Jaws, like you got a little glimpse of it when he bites the guy's leg off. He's like, "You boys all right over there?" And then you get the full reveal when the chums some of this shit. But in this, it's just cut to a weird, itchy-nosed shark, just kind of half, like, just like he's drunk or something, just floating around in the water, not swishing his tail or anything. He's just sort of floating there.
Yeah. So I guess we're supposed to believe that okay, I made it. I swam all the way.
Like, I swam the 1,200 miles in about 10 minutes.
I'm here for Christmas because now Ellen is playing with Thea in the sand. She's on the beach, and then she looks out into the water, like she senses.
This is where she has like a psychic connection with the
shark. She senses the shark is there, and you know.
I like to combine that with the book shark. That's like if they're having a conversation telepathically, like Professor X. Shark is like all like midlife crisis. Like, I don't know what I'm doing down here. And she's like, yeah, you know, you can leave us alone. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't even know why I'm down here. But I have no idea. I
was just doing regular shark stuff up where it was cold, and then all of a sudden I'm down here in the Bahamas, and I'm like, I don't even understand how I got invited to your Christmas party.
Why are you down here? Don't you live up in Amity? I mean, I'm trying to get away from there, I guess, but I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the shark was trying to get away from them. It's like, you blew up two of my guys.
Yeah, he was like, it was my mom and my dad. You blew them up. I'm just trying to get away. And I was just mowing down on a piece of wood, and then your son got in the way.
Yeah, I had to eat him too. And
accidentally.
He was in the water. What do you want me to do? So anyway, she's there at the Hoagie shows up. We cut to Jake and Michael. They're talking about their money or whatever. One of John and I's favorite lines. They're talking about money. It's just spent it all on beer.
Yeah, still make that reference. I think we're the only two that make a Jaws the Revenge reference on a semi-regular basis. Yeah. That's not this time, it's personal.
That's right. So anyway, Michael sees Hoagie and his mom are just walking on the beach together, and he's very suspicious that this laundry delivery man, you know, I mean, I'm sure he could have very easily found out. Yeah, well, he is a compulsive gambler, yeah. And then, so she's telling him, Hoagie, Ellen is telling Hoagie, she knows it. She says, I know it's coming.
She's actually just talking to a sandwich.
not Hoagie. Yes. She tells Michael Caine. And then she says, like, you know, where can I go? Where can you take me on that plane or whatever? You know, so. And how about dry land? Can you get there? I mean, why not? Like, you know, hey, where can I go on that plane of yours? How about, you know, I don't know. Not even, I can't even think of it. Just someplace in the middle of the United States. Yeah, right. So they actually end up going to a Junkaroo festival, which I didn't know what that was, but I guess it's like a...
You listened to our Thunderball episode.
Ah, very good.
We haven't even done yet, so...
We haven't. You're right.
What was that? We did do one. We didn't do Thunderball yet, or we did?
No, but Moonraker had.
They had like that parade.
The
Carnival. I was thinking very much it was like that. Mm-hmm. Here's a little weird thing about that scene when they're dancing around. He's trying to keep her mind off the thing, and she's kind of having a fun time dancing in the parade, and he's kind of like, I think she's should stop dancing. Like, why? She's having a good time.
Well, because she's I think she's in denial, trying to cover it up. And I also like the fact that he's like, sharks come and go, Ellen. It's like, what? He's like, kick it in the ass.
You just blew this whole movie out of the water. No pun intended. Yeah, like, what do you mean sharks come and go? This time
we know a lot more about mental health these days. I think now Hoagie would be like, enjoy yourself, take your mind off it, dance around, dance about.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, have some protein.
Dance about. Yeah. So now we see Jake is in the yellow submarine, and I gotta say, his braids look kind of funny, like floating around like that. It looks like he's got.
They're not real either. He's wearing a wig.
All right. Well, there you go. Anyway, they're talking to each other again. The shark swims right by him, and he says,
"Isn't it like right next to him, or is
it's
just like his big eyeball next to him?"
Yeah, and he says, "We got a big fish down here, man."
Oh yeah.
How big? And then it comes out and eats part of the boat. The teeth fall out, which I guess is something that happens.
Are falling out.
I don't know. Is that something scientifically that happens though sometimes, or I don't know? But the teeth all just fall right out.
I think it's just poor craftsmanship on the fake shark.
It happened to me.
So yeah. So now they know that there is a shark down here, and then again, wherever she is, wherever they are, wherever she is with Hoagie, Ellen senses that something has happened. Yeah.
Dancing and stops dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like telepathic connection to the sharks. Wait.
Yeah.
X-Men. Come to me, my X-Men.
Yeah, Jake comes back. He's all excited. He's like, now we can do some real research. We can look at the shark. We don't have sharks down here because they don't come down here, except this one because it's personal.
On vacation.
They do kind of indicate on vacation, yeah. They do kind of indicate, like, why did the shark come up here? It was right next to you, Jake. Because he was going after Michael.
I don't know. Maybe he wanted white meat or whatever.
Yeah, he does say something. Maybe he likes white meat. Michael's only reaction really is, don't tell my mom. Just kind of a weird
I like
thing.
that he does say, like, don't tell my mom.
Yeah.
Not like, don't say anything to my mother. Like, hey, don't tell my mom.
Hey, don't tell my mom. It's like they're out drinking in the woods.
Yeah.
Don't tell my mom.
Don't tell my mom.
Oh, my God. Yeah, but Jake's going to be like, well, me and your mom have a standing coffee date.
And what else am I going to talk about, really?
She never approved of his lifestyle, his job, and all that. It's like I'm like putting sensors on these like oysters or conches or whatever the fuck.
Oyster.
What is a conch?
A conch? It's like a snail. It's a big snail.
Yeah, and then they use that on the Lord of the Flies for each person. When it's someone's time to talk, they take a conch.
Oh, how about that?
But that's a little literature for you here.
Nice.
Joe.
It's pretty good.
Thank you.
I understood that.
All right, so we cut. It's it's Jake's girlfriend, wife. I guess it's never quite said. I suppose it's his wife. It doesn't really matter.
Friend with benefits.
Maybe special lady, whatever. But it's her birthday, and it's also, I guess, New Year's because they do like a toast.
They drink to each other's legs.
That would be great. Another reference that none of them were there for, but they would somehow know.
They would flash back to it. Ellen would think back to the time she was thinking about watching Jaws when it came out.
He almost breaks open. Oh, he's found this cool thing. It's a shark. But he's like, Jake, don't say anything to my mom.
Almost blabs. We had an agreement. Don't
it
tell
was
my
literally
mom.
20 seconds ago that we just had this. Anyway, Hoagie and Ellen are dancing. And then Michael says, mind if I cut in? Because he's so suspicious of Hoagie that...
Yeah, the world would be a better place if all sons would dance with their mothers. Thanks for the cock block, Michael.
A conch block.
Yeah, there you go.
I kind of think that his mom is like smoking some good weed down there because she's like, everybody dying with the sharks is nearly killed me, but here I am and existential.
But hey, sharks come and go.
Yeah, she did say she's gonna stop being such a
an old biddy.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, good.
She's like, that's it, huh? Good.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, I got a lot on my mind. We ran into a shark today. I mean,
that's okay. It's good that you're gonna move on. So the next day, Michael shows up on their boat. He's there to work, and Jake's like, "Nah, we're not doing the conch shit today. We're gonna study that shark for a couple of days, and then we'll get back to your snails."
Yeah, he's fixing his tennis ball container.
Yeah, I know. But it's like a little thing so they can track it, which is a thing they do.
And they cram,
life.
10 years worth of backstory and exposition into this little conversation they have on the boat. It's like, well, I got the research grant, but you didn't get it without my help. But yeah, we're going to lose it. And we'll both get the credit, but we're going to move on to the bigger fish.
There was that time when we were 3. Okay.
We were 3. So they tag the shark. Because the shark jumps out of the water to get this.
Yeah, well, they throw in a very plastic-looking piece of meat to attract the plastic-looking shark.
Yeah, and it jumps out like a dog.
Yeah, what is this like? Is this like a hovering shark or something? Because it's like the angles they show it at when it comes out and then goes
Maybe
back
the voodoo helps it float a little.
Planet.
Maybe. Yeah, so he does this tag.
He doesn't really eat the meat hanging there. More like he just rolls it around on his tongue. It's so weird looking. It's so phony. The shark. I don't understand how the shark can look worse 12 years later.
Right.
Just baffles me. So it's like Superman 4 when I saw that. I was like, how are the effects in this worse than the first one?
Well, now we know
but
because
that one got the budget cut on that one.
Right.
But this one's just bad.
Yeah, this is just a rush job,
Yeah. It's a lot of rush.
That's a lot of rush. All right, so they have the sharks. They can track it by its heartbeat. All right, so we cut back to Hoagie and Ellen. Hoagie and Ellen again, and this is where he orders 2 Bahama Mamas.
2 Bahama Mamas, please.
That was a joke we were making for a little while. I think I think it was some kind of sexual reference.
Yeah, well, it was another podcast I was listening to like a year or 2 ago where they were talking about what's in the Bahama Mamas, and then they just like got like more and more outrageous, and they were like, it was like it's just a bucket of cum with 2 straws. That's what I think is what the joke ended up being.
Gross.
But they kiss. So that was nice.
I have an irresistible urge to kiss you, Ellen Brody.
Yes. There you go. Ellen's getting some action.
Good on her. I actually thought Ellen Brody was attractive in the first Jaws movie.
Yeah, she's all right. Didn't in the novel she had a little thing with Matt Hooper, right?
And in the novelization it refers back to that thing. So I'm like, what canon is this movie following? Is this novelization following?
All the books are together. So and this is the second. We have the second reference, I guess, to Michael's wife wanting to get some.
She's like, oh yeah, all he did was kiss me, and she's like, yeah, well that's good, that's a start, because I'm looking forward to getting banged like crazy all the time for the rest of my life. It's got to be so much
normal
sex with
conversation
your son.
you have with your mom.
Oh no!
In fact, and then it pulls back, and actually he's like having sex with her right there in front of the mom.
He's like kneeling down, giving her a head or something. But but there is, I guess maybe it was earlier, but there is Michael he can't sleep, I guess. He's watching Hoagie and his mother like on the porch, and his wife she takes off her panties.
Oh yeah.
And like flings, like slingshots them and she says, "I'll help you take your mind off things, sailor." Or whatever.
That's a special thing.
This chick
like that.
is
I like that she was doing that.
She is
thirsty for that Brody. That Brody meat.
Brody. Not the plastic meat that they had.
No, not plastic meat. Brody meat. It's the good stuff, the expensive stuff. Top shelf Brody meat.
Yeah, top shelf. All right, moving along.
I was gonna keep going until you change the subject.
So Michael and Jake are out there. They're listening to the heartbeat, and he's like, "Hey, what do you know about Hoagie?" He's like, "Well, I like a good, it's steak and cheese, man." But he does. I kind of like. He's after my mother, and Jake like laughs.
He's like, "Oh, I'd be scared too."
Yeah, he's like, "If it was my mother, I'd send her packing."
I do think the interplay with the characters is actually pretty good in this movie. Their acting is quite natural.
True.
Even if you're like, let's get to some fucking shark stuff here, for God's sake.
Yeah, right. None of this has anything to do with.
Yeah, because when he's testing out the heart thing, he puts it up to Michael, and he's got a strong heartbeat, and then he puts it on himself. He's like, "Why is your heart so much stronger than mine?" You know?
Yeah, it's funny. Jake is a fun. Mario Van Peebles is, despite the fact that I said that thing about his accent kind of going in and out. He's a funny character. He's a funny, He's his acting is spot on.
This is pre New Jack City Mario Van Peebles.
Yeah, I know that was the thing that really put him on the map.
Try to be a New Jack hustler. That's my iced tea.
I used to watch that show Sunny Spoon that he was on not long after this movie.
So then we have she's working.
He was
on
a big deal.
The shark sculpture.
He was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Hey, he's in a Clint Eastwood movie too. I can't remember. Heartbreak Ridge, maybe. Anyway, go on.
Stop
the podcast cold in its tracks right there.
I just pictured crusty old Clint Eastwood on the cover of that, and I reflected on it in my mind for a second when he said that.
There was that time where he was just talking to a chair and pretending it was Mario Van Peebles. It was weird.
So the next we have the scene about how she says to her mother-in-law she wants a long and happy sex life, whatever, and then Mike and Thea do the scene, basically the same scene that Sean and Martin Brody did at the kitchen table with the, whatever. And,
I really hate this scene.
Oh yeah, it's so stupid.
That's what they would call fan service.
Peekaboo.
Now.
Remember
Back then it was called padding the movie up because it's only 87 minutes and we need to get it a little
They could have
longer.
done that and not cut back to the original Jaws. They could have just done it and not had to slice in the reference. You know what I mean?
Well, no
that
one
was
would.
for the benefit of people like you, Clay, who had only seen Jaws: The Revenge on cable at the time, so you wouldn't understand the reference.
Hey, it's the guy from 2010.
Hey, it's that guy from Blue Thunder.
2010. What's he doing in this movie? Anyway, so now we see that this is finally we get to see a shark. Mike is down there tagging conchs. Not his, that's what his wife calls.
That's a code.
When they go down. Anyway,
Oh man.
Sorry, that really struck me as funny.
So the shark comes out.
What are you doing later tonight? You want to tag some conchs?
Yeah. So the shark goes after the yellow submarine. He has to escape. It's kind of similar to the Matt Hooper scene.
Apparently, this was a scene that was dropped from Jaws 3, and repurposed it.
All right. The shark chases him all along and through a shipwreck, which is down there. Yeah. The shark chases him. You just in case you didn't.
In case you weren't aware, the shark chases him.
Shark chases him
slowly.
Yeah, very slowly.
And it's somehow strong enough to not smash, more like just kind of gently glide through the outside hull of the ship, only to be stopped by a pesky ladder.
Yeah, a metal ladder. And then Michael...
Only had it been a paper ladder like the rest of the ship.
Michael uses his...
As I recall,
when
he propels himself up with...
he uses the scuba
oxygen tank. But I think in the book, he just created a lot of bubbles as a sort of distraction that he could kind of hide. And get that way, which is a little more realistic. Sort of like the voodoo was a little more realistic.
So the way they explained it just sounded kind of cool. So they get him up there. It's kind of funny because first Jake is up on the boat and he's just going, Michael, like, where are you? And then he finally decides, okay, we better go down there, without it, because he can hear the shark's heartbeat. Yes. So he knows the shark is nearby. But he stands up there on the deck yelling at him for 5 minutes before he's like, oh shit, we better do something.
Well, he was just kind of hoping that
maybe he'll use his scuba tank to shoot up to the surface.
Yeah, if I'm lucky and I know Michael, he'll probably do this, and this. And then he did, but he had to make it look good, like he was going to go down. And
my
save
name
it.
is
So
Brody,
Right.
so I'm going to stay on this deck for as long as I can.
So yeah, but he gets up there and I guess somehow his arm is bleeding or whatever, but he wakes up and you think like, oh, was that just a dream? But no, his arm is he's got like his arm is like tied up with, like gauze and whatever, tape and stuff.
Yeah, he got the better arm injury than his brother did.
Yeah, that's right. So he goes and looks in the bathroom mirror and I so wanted him to see like a shark's face.
Oh, wouldn't that have been awesome? Or like open the medicine cabinet and then close it and the shark's behind him.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Hey!
Was it Jurassic Park 3 where Sam Neill's asleep and like a velociraptor is talking to him on the plane and then he wakes up?
Right.
That would have been amazing if Jaws the Revenge did it first.
I know it would have been even better in Jurassic Park 3. But
they would have been like, oh yeah, no.
Then they became homage to this, which no one has ever done. All right, so the next day, Michael wants to go back in, and they're like, "No, you can't. You just got eaten by a shark." He's like, "I gotta do this," and then he's like,
"Man."
Meanwhile, he's like, "Well, your wife's big unveiling of her weird-looking shark sculpture,
stupid thing."
And he's like, I gotta get back in there.
What else am I gonna do?
Yeah. And then we have a jump scare with like an eel goes after him. So that was, whatever. That was the whole thing of that. All right. So we have this big sculpture unveiling, and the mayor is played by, I'll drop some knowledge, Mario Van Peebles' dad is the guy playing the mayor.
Melvin. And I would also like to point out, let's see, I had a couple notes here.
Look at you.
That in the crowd, there's a guy that looks like a disco dictator, Richard Pryor.
I love that that's your note.
I think I did see that guy. I took copious notes. Yeah. Disco dictator, Richard Pryor.
Yep. Funny. That should get a laugh.
So Thea says she wants to go on a banana boat. Margaret's going, and her mother is there, so it'll be fine. And they're like,
yeah, I mean, what adult has gotten eaten by a shark before? None.
That's right, as long as there's an adult there. But of course, so we have to point out this isn't something that they've stressed too much. Michael and Jake have not told anyone that they have encountered a shark in the water. So
yeah, the reason they haven't stressed it is because this movie's only an hour and a half, and they
don't have time.
And he definitely didn't want to tell his mom about it. So
right. So, but she knows because she can sense it. So I don't know. Her powers are on the fritz on this one because Thea gets on the boat, a banana boat.
Well, the thing is, the shark isn't actually wanting to eat a person. He thinks it's an actual banana.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to be healthy.
I used to work at an ice cream store. I worked at JP Licks for a long time, and there was this old guy that would come in, and he had like sort of a thick accent because he wasn't natively born here in America, and he would always like with his hand like make a motion like the shape of a boat, and he would always say, "Banana boat." So when she's like, I want to go on the banana boat. Like every time I hear the word banana boat, I think of that guy, banana boat.
What? Well, so the shark goes after the banana boat, eats Margaret's mom. There's this great
Margaret
shot.
sticks her leg right into the shark's mouth, and also they stop the boat.
Yeah, like they take like this turn just so
that
the shark
shot
can get it.
of her getting bitten is one of the worst edits, cuts, or whatever of the movie.
And the best.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because like it's kind of slow motion, but the kids are all kind of still bouncing, and there's this kid sitting on the front of the boat. You just like the least interested kid ever to do anything. This little blonde kid. And like I guess in my memory, like the mom somehow saved Thea or something, but I guess that was.
I think they're like, if you look in a couple of shots, they're like passing the kids up towards the front.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I might be misremembering it too. But.
Well, anyways, Margaret's mom gets eaten, and yeah,
and then the movie follows Margaret's family for the rest of the film.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they were working on somebody was working on a sequel somewhere. Like
here's a spin-off, Margaret's mom's
revenge, where she becomes like a shark hunter or something like that.
Yeah, well, here's my other problem with the shark in this movie is he can just like stop and kind of just stick his head out of the water and just hover there for a couple minutes. So he's like, as she's like flailing away, they have that shot from the banana boat's point of view, and like you can see the sharks like chomping her, and he's just like hanging out right there. Also, he can back up. When he was chasing Michael earlier, he's just like he's able to just go in shark reverse somehow. I don't think that's how it works. I could be wrong.
I mean, I feel like you've done some, because we were such fans, as I mentioned at the beginning. You've done some research on shark.
I had a lot of shark knowledge, but it's all like it ends at like 1991, so it's kind of outdated.
I see.
And me and Dr. John McCosker, because you never know when tragedy may strike. He was the shark. He was the shark advisor on the movie, and I wouldn't trust that guy to advise any shark movie. This is what came out of it.
I wouldn't trust him if he told me the sky was blue.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I love how there's obviously like Ellen is young. They're about to be like, here's the sculpture, and Ellen goes, Thea, and she starts.
As my wife would now say.
So they're all like, there's all this chaos on the beach. I love Jake's wife. Partner, whatever. She says, somebody do something.
Yeah, not me.
What are you doing? You're just standing there on the beach.
She's like, I'm wearing white and it's going to get wet. I can't do anything.
You'll just see right through this thing.
Yeah, so somebody else do something.
Yeah. I'll be nipping. I can't go in the water. Anyway, all right. So anyways, Ellen now, she does decide to do something. She steals Michael's boat, even though she knows nothing about anything. And she
doesn't know anything.
The shark.
Well, she lives on an island. She probably learned how to boat.
Yeah,
around.
Yeah, she boated.
Women can boat too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
not funny, but they can drive boats.
Exactly. Anyways, she gets on the boat and she's going after it. So then Mike comes home and like he finds his daughter traumatized, and his wife is there. She's like. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I
missed your crappy sculpture unveiling.
Yeah, you're weird.
How'd it go? Good, huh?
Yeah. Didn't even say, he was just out in the water. But so he said something to the effect of like, I should have, I forget the line, but it's something about how he should have known or something like that. She's like, what do you mean? And he says, well, me and Jake saw the shark. And so he'll be sleeping on the couch for a while. Because his wife is very pissed. She's like, no more sex for you, buddy. Because, your daughter almost died. Thanks a lot. Then he goes running. And he calls for Jake. He's like, come on, we got to go find my mom. And then they get in a little motorboat. They come across Hoagie, who's like fishing. And they're like, hey, have you seen Ellen? And he's like, no. And they're like, she went after her.
I thought that show was canceled.
Like she went after her, she took my boat and blah blah. And so he volunteers, I guess, to take them up in his planes to go searching for her, which probably takes like a few hours, right?
I would think maybe he pulled some strings.
Yeah, I guess so.
Since he's part of the DEA or whatever in real life.
Yeah, right. In real life,
or
in
this is
novel,
like a small
novel.
island, and he
in
can
novel
just drive
canon.
there, no prize. It's not that far away. It doesn't need much runway to take off. I don't know. It's his plane, or it's the boss's.
I
plane.
guess
It doesn't need to get clearance or anything, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I got an emergency laundry delivery.
So this is what he says though. Yeah, what do you do when you're not flying people? He says, I deliver laundry. So it's nothing so nefarious, or he's full of shit. I don't know. Maybe he's lying.
Maybe
he is
full of shit.
Yeah. So anyways, Ellen is out there on the boat. She sees the shark coming at her. And she says, come and get me, you son of a bitch.
So dramatic.
So
My name's
dramatic.
Brody, and I also want to get closer to the shark, I guess.
Yeah. So they do find that from the plane, they see the boat and the shark, and they're like, is that what I think it is? And they like fly by. I don't know what their plan is here. Are they going to fly the plane at the shark? I don't really know what the deal is.
He's just going to jump out of the plane.
So he just,
here.
So he decides to land the plane in the water. Jake tells us, because he's a scientist, that the shark will come for the plane because it's attracted to the electromagnetic impulses.
It's like catnip for a shark.
Of course. Yeah. Hey, if you're going to believe that a shark is going to come after people in some sort of vendetta, then you might as well believe that they'll go after a plane. Peebles. Oh, very good, very good.
Yeah.
You might as well believe.
He went after a helicopter in Jaws too, so.
Cross that off my notes. That'll get a laugh.
Oh, did you say that? Oh, all right.
Ah, shit. Sorry.
No, I was just talking about my Peebles joke. I'm still riding high off it. I'm still. I stopped listening actually after that. I just kind of took a step back. It's not a Clint Eastwood and a Hacksaw Ridge cover and reflected for a minute after I made that joke.
And then you were like, by the way, here's how they made Godzilla's roar.
Oh, we'll get to a roar.
Oh yeah, we will.
By the way. So the shark does indeed go after the plane and sinks, and we think Hoagie is dead. But somehow
because he has the greatest reaction of all time in this. He's like saying something, and then the shark pops up in the same stock shot that the shark has popped up in 2 other times. And he's like, oh shit.
And by the way, this plane is not one of those planes that has the cool runners that you can land on the water. It's a regular plane.
No, right. It's just a plane.
I would also like to point out that when they're about to land the plane in the water, you can see another sailboat in the background.
Oh, I didn't.
And I feel like they should have cut before that.
Scaled that?
Start the shot after it's already flown by that, because then it doesn't look like they're out in the middle of the ocean by themselves. There's let's just call for help. Those guys.
Yeah, let's get those guys over here so we can get out of here. I don't know what their plan was with the plane anyway. How were they gonna?
Well, what's her plan with the boat? No one's got a plan. That's it's like a metaphor for this entire movie. There's no plan. They were just like, get it done.
You're right. What was I thinking? All right, yeah. So Hoagie comes back 2 seconds later, and he's like, "Oh, bloody hell! The breath on that thing." He's all mad about the breath of the shark.
Special moisture wicking shirt too, there, because he comes out dry.
It's a technical fabric.
Yeah, it's actually quite wet, but it looks dry. It's good for those hot days.
It's Mac welded. Use code LeaguePodcast to get 20% off your order.
So for some reason, so that they're listening to the shark's heartbeat because that thing is still working, but the engine on the boat isn't working. And Hoagie, who almost just died, goes, "Let me have a look." And he just goes down. I guess it just gives him something to do while they're all doing all this science stuff.
It gives him his Alfred training for.
Yeah, right. But what happened to the boat? Why isn't the engine not working?
Well, because the shark jumped up and smashed the side of it or something.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. Sure.
In a very looking scene.
The orca took a lot of punishment. This boat, one little bump and this thing is done.
It's not built for that. That's why.
All right. So here we go. We get some science. Jake wants to put this little receiver thing in the shark's mouth, and then they can use
their flashlight.
Yes, right. Their flashlight.
They have one of those.
And they said, it'll drive it crazy. I don't know is that supposed to kill it though?
Yeah, just drive it crazy.
Yeah, maybe be like, I gotta get out. I gotta get back to Amity. This is
oh man,
loud down here.
Crazy.
Everybody's peeing in the water. It's loud. It's flashing lights.
So
the bananas taste like don't even taste
like boats.
The bananas
taste sort of like plastically rubber and a person.
A person on top.
I wanted a banana boat with cherry on top.
Banana boat. So Jake gets out on the bow of the ship. He's got his thing on a little pole, his flashlight thing.
He's doing his best Rio video imitation. Yeah, right.
I don't remember that video, actually.
Oh, they're all on the boat, and he's sitting on the masts there.
Nice. So the shark jumps almost completely out of the water, like completely.
Yeah, like
flying.
Yeah, he's just Well, one of the things that Lance Guest talked about was that the script changed a lot after its first draft, and they were already started to film because they realized they couldn't do a bunch of the stuff with the shark that was written. So that's I think that's why you get a lot of weird shark stuff in this, where it's fleeing out of the water, just looking bad.
It jumps out of the water. Jake sticks the thing in, and then it bites him and breaks off the top, the little thing of the bow there, the whatever they call that thing.
The pointy thing.
The pointy thing.
According to the script, it's bow, because I'm looking right at the script right now.
It is
Since I just said it, but I was just,
Well, I know. I mean, I know the bow is the front, but the literal.
When the bow breaks,
let me read directly from the script.
Yeah.
The shark goes crazy. Its weight pulling the bow down into the water as it tries to free itself, thrashing about so violently that it turns the bow to splinters. Spock.
So Jake is presumed dead, and depending on the version of the movie you saw, he is dead. And Michael screams at Jake. He's like this long scream. It's like a slow motion scream, and like they're all kind of sad. And then, of course, Hoagie's like, "Come on, Ellen. We're going to pump out this water." I guess he's,
That's not a metaphor.
Get the bilge pump going.
Yeah. So Michael is
I've already
determined
forgotten
now.
what we said the code word for sex was with the
Tagging conch.
Oh, yeah. It's not a metaphor for tagging conchs.
So Michael is determined. He gets his flashlight out, and he starts electrocuting the shark or whatever the hell it is.
One of the sound effects they used was like one of the sound effects that I'd always hear on the Transformers cartoon, that like the little short circuiting
Oh
stuff.
yeah, like the little short. No, but they did get. So here's the knowledge drop. You guys probably heard this too. Does someone else? I feel bad. I always give away the good stuff.
Go ahead, just say it. We all know.
Apparently the sound engineer said, "Fuck you, I'm not doing a shark roar." And so he wouldn't create one, and they took it from Tom and Jerry.
Yes. I used to call it the Herman Munster roar because it was also a roar that they used regularly on the Munsters for that thing under the stairs or whatever that was.
It's kind of one of those classic, like a Wilhelm scream kind of things.
Scream.
Yeah.
That's the roar.
Yeah, it's been used.
Check out our Earth on the Fire starter episode.
Sure. But this shark goes and also begins jumping out of the water as Michael is using his flashlight thing to whatever, drive him crazy, as he says. Meanwhile, Ellen is driving the boat right at the shark. And she's remembering things that she wasn't there for again. She's remembering her own husband. The banana boat at the front of the boat is she's aimed right at the shark. She's remembering Chief Brody at the very end. One of my favorite movie scenes of all time, when he's on the thing and he says, "Smile, you son of a," and then she goes like, "Bitch," and I guess because the shark is out of the water because of the electric thing, she rams it with the broken bow pieces.
He spontaneously combusted.
And then he blows up for no reason. And like the whole boat.
I preferred the original ending to him just blowing up, because as I was telling you guys the other night, if you watch that in slow-mo, you can see it's all little toys. And the shark, oh God, it's so dumb looking.
I forgot when you said it was, so like every time I saw a shark, I was like, "Where are the toys? Where are the toys? Where are the toys?" I have to look at it again.
Well, it's only in I actually went to YouTube to find the original ending, because I don't think I had ever seen it, literally until today.
Wow.
Where it looks dumb. It looks as bad as the exploding shark looks. This looks dumb, because there's many shots of their faces. You know what I mean? It's like Ellen Brody's face, Hoagie's face, and then like the shark out of the water. It's just like and then it finally rams the shark, but then the whole boat falls apart.
Yeah.
As you read, Clay, it seems to be kind of like splintering. and then they all fall in the water, and yeah, but I don't know, it's just so ridiculous. And so they take a shot from the original Jaws of the shark falling into the water.
It's not even Ellen thinking back to it either. It's actually
it's literally just footage, the same shot of the shark sinking. And is it even the same like music? That's sort of like.
I don't think so. I don't think it is.
All right.
By the way, speaking of the original music, this is something also on How Did This Get Made? But I did notice it myself when Michael's like in the water and Jake is like on the radio. He's like doing the ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Like,
yeah,
what?
I wanted to say something about that too. Yeah,
I thought he was doing the heartbeat.
I thought he was doing the heartbeat, but other people have also pointed out that he's doing the ba-dum.
It sounded to me exactly when I was watching it. I was like, how does he know what the Jaws theme song is? How does he know this shark has its own
it's
song?
Just like in Octopussy, where the guy plays the Bond theme on the flute.
And that's the guy you're supposed to contact. That's how he knows. Yeah, so they're all in the water, and then suddenly we hear Jake going like, help. As long as you're watching this on VHS or whatever, digital whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, apparently that original ending has been scrubbed. Jake is alive.
Yay!
Huzzah!
Huzzah! And he's kind of just floating there. Mike goes, and they
put his guts back in.
I know. He literally got he got eaten.
He didn't actually get eaten. The shark dropped him out of the mouth just as he was getting stabbed. So he ended up getting impaled by the front of the boat. Is really bad.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Michael was fine.
Yeah.
Jake was fine. No, it's not stupid Ellen ramming him with the boat. Yeah. And then we have one more scene where they go. They're getting on Hoagie's plane.
Well, first of all, is that Jake's family getting on the plane to leave?
That's what one of the YouTube videos I saw said.
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know if it is or not, but that would be weird. They'd be like, "Oh well," with the obvious ADR.
Right.
Like,
she says, "Take care of Jake."
And then she's like, "Are you gonna be okay? Is Jake's family gonna be okay after he died?"
I guess his family they're just leaving him there to recover by himself in the hospital.
Like,
but Michael will take care of
him.
Yeah, Michael. I know. Obviously, edited in later. Take good care of Jake. Yeah. Oh man. And then they get on Hoagie's plane. And he tells them. He's like, I'll tell you the story about when I was with the local tribesmen.
It's even more hilarious than that. He's like, did I ever tell you about the time I flew 100 nuns to the Amazon? And then when he's flying, if you watch the credits, he continues the story. He's like, they were all playing guitar. He trails off on this long story about all the nuns.
Oh, I think I was just over it by that point. I didn't even hear his story. But yeah, end Jaws Revenge, end of the Jaws franchise. Surprisingly, this is not one that they have revived with all they revived Halloween, and they just did a new Exorcist movie last year or
in
this
a way
year,
they just spawned the Meg and Sharknado,
right,
and all sort of
Sharknado,
things.
Right?
Spawned a genre.
I guess you're right, but technically, we're never going to get to Jaws 19 at this rate.
And
and seeing as how 2015 already happened too. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We'll never get there.
Somebody said too, it was Jaws really the first big summer blockbuster?
Yeah, it was the first one to make over 100 million, I think. Yeah. Right. First movie.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's different, because now we have a million Sharknadoes, and we have Deep Blue Sea, right? That was like a shark movie. And
the animatronic sharks in that one were actually well done. There's a YouTube video where they redid the shark chasing Mike and put in a real shark in there. And it's weird. I actually prefer the fake shark in it because it's too real looking when they put the new one,
all right. Well, so yeah,
final thoughts.
Was it. this was it for Jaws. Like, it's kind of weird to think about. Like, they never did it anything like that. I guess it's because water is just too hard to deal with. Fake sharks, apparently, even with CGI. I guess I don't know. Maybe they could do it. But the first Meg was fun, but I never saw the second one.
I haven't seen the second one either. I loved the first one. It was really dopey. And
yeah, it was. I wanted more, but I was almost like this. I was like, I kind of wanted more people to get eaten. What the hell? Yeah, all right. We might as well do final thoughts because,
Well, you go first.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, is there? I thought you said
you go first. Yeah, mine would be better after it. I think I should go.
Okay.
I think I should go last because I think that my
All right, Durson, you go first.
I'll go first. Like I said, as fans of even the first two, I guess Jaws 2 is definitely watchable. It's not great. Yeah. 3, one of the worst. I mean, just really bad. Just a bad movie. 3 is really terrible. I don't know. I go back and forth. 3 and 4. Which one is bad?
I think a lot of Jaws fans also are in that same mindset. They're like, I don't know which one's worse. They're both terrible.
I haven't seen Jaws 3 in a long, long time. And this is sitting through this. It's pretty bad. It doesn't make any it's pretty pointless. Like there's that long stretch in the middle, not that long because the movie's only an hour and a half, but where they're kind of just there's a lot of talking, and there's all this sort of stuff about Hoagie, and it leads nowhere. It doesn't matter in the end. There's stuff with I don't know the wife and she yells at him about taking out the garbage or whatever at one point. All these scenes. I guess we're supposed to think that Michael is distracted by the shark or whatever, but I mean it doesn't even matter. Can't you show the shark eating somebody else before you
maybe the something? Voodoo witch doctor or something.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they didn't do that.
I'm not. I think this movie just needed to be more bonkers. Maybe
that was the way to do it instead of trying to be serious.
Yeah, no, just go fucking all in with
all
the
in.
Yeah,
a voodoo.
The voodoo
planet. The voodoo guy controlling the shark because for some reason he wants revenge on he put a curse on the Brodies?
Yeah, I don't remember why, but
did Martin Brody throw someone in jail or something?
Yeah, probably something like that, or
All right, whatever.
Michael didn't take the trash out for Papa Jacques. Okay.
The point is, right, so the first movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's probably a movie, if I thought about the movies that I've watched more than any movie, that would be up there. Jaws would have to be up there. And then the second one, it's fine. But this is just oh boy. It's hard. And even just watching it the other day, I was like, wow, I remember this movie. Or I don't even know what to do. I mean, even though at the time in 1987, I was like, it's not bad. It's not as bad as people say, but it's.
But you were also 10 at the time.
Yeah, so. I think I was 10 or 11. It's pretty bad. It's hard to give it even for nostalgia, even in Ironica. I can't even give it an Ironica. I think it's probably a D movie. Right? But sure, performances are great. Nothing against any of the, even Michael Caine, who was doing it for a paycheck, still acts okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess a D. Yeah, D. D as in dumb.
D as in Durson.
D as in Durson.
I second that. I will also give it a D. Right. I just remembered this being more entertaining than it really is. And it is kind of a slog at an hour and a half. There are not enough shark parts. And the movie doesn't make any sense. It's just a dumb premise altogether. It's just thrown together at the last minute to try to make some money. And it didn't. I guess it actually broke even eventually.
I think it did eventually, yeah.
But that's not going to get you the cash flow you needed if you're only breaking even. The performances are fine. The shark looks awful. It's a dopey premise. I don't know what else to say. I like all
He
my
is
final.
a dopey.
Yeah, all my final thoughts are always just like, yeah, what you said. So, all right, that's all I got.
Okay. So, I'm not gonna like dump I give this an A. I'm the positive guy, whatever on this. But I think that when you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score and it says 0, I think that that's not exactly fair. And like I said,
well, I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregate critics, website. So that means 0 critics gave it
a positive review, right? I mean, I can see that. I see
I
that.
know that we can see.
Right? I can't.
That's more plausible than the whole shark falling.
Than the whole voodoo thing.
I think today, if they were to make that movie today, they would definitely have that, like, they would cut away at the end and then show the voodoo master being like, I controlled this whole thing, and then tune in for Jaws 5 or whatever, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna be an apologist in the way that you think that I am. But I think that saying that this movie like has no value, I think that as a bad movie night movie, this is a fucking A. This is a great movie as a bad movie. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I'll agree with you on that one. I think, a bad movie night.
Bad movie night, it gets an A. And I liked that it was fucking 90 minutes. And I do remember I'm not like a huge Jaws person. I haven't seen Jaws a million times. Like, I've probably seen this movie probably more times than I've seen Jaws, including the time I saw it in your backyard. Like, because it was on, it was just on. And I would watch it. And then even as a kid, and when I was, however old I was when it came out, and it was on TV, so there, you had a couple years there, I was always like, how did the fucking shark know to go follow them? Like, I would always, I always thought of that as like, wow, they're really jumping the shark, as even when I was young, But I gotta say, as a bad movie to watch, there's plenty to make fun of, and in that way, my only apologist thing where I'm like the super positive guy, like about stuff, just seems like I'm even contrarian when I am. Like, this was like, I had fun watching this to do the podcast. Like, it exists in a way that it's really bad, but I still had a lot of fun watching it. You know what I mean? Because I knew we were going to talk about it in this way. I gave it and as far as like all the movies I've seen in my life, and I've seen worse movies. I think that if you were to like insert this in like the 31 Marvel movies that are, like, I think that this is a better movie than Black Widow. So like,
what?
maybe
as far as the enjoyable scale, like the bad movie,
the enjoyable scale beyond the enjoyable scale beyond this is a bad movie night thing. Like, I think that it's like a summertime fun USA Today, not USA Today, USA Network, fucking
USA
cable
Network
movie, like Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher. Like, I'm gonna sit there and watch it and like kind of have a good time. I had a good time watching it.
That your experience is exactly what I thought my experience was going to be going into it, because I remembered this just being more entertaining than it was to me this time.
I give it a C-.
But I'm glad that you have.
I give it a C-, and I've seen worse movies that don't have a 0 tomato score. You know what I mean? So I don't think that this is. It's like everybody.
Go back and listen to
everybody agrees that this is the worst movie. Blah blah blah. Well, I don't think it's the worst movie. I've seen way worse movies. I think it's fun. I think we're having sexy time at the beach in the Bahamas. Michael Caine's getting some. He's a little older guy. The fucking son is getting some. Hide their horniness. Fucking just along for the ride.
Mario Van Peebles is getting some. Everybody's enjoying the Christmas.
I'm just on the banana boat of life. And and I'm just enjoying myself. So I really enjoyed this, and probably only
Awesome.
because, I would talk about it with you guys, and I had fun. And I'll even contradict myself a little bit. I didn't realize that on Netflix in the browser, I could kind of like put it on 1.25 or 1.5 speeds, and I like rushed through it. You know what I mean? So that's not me saying like I was like loving every minute of it. I was like, I kind of listened to it like I listened to some podcasts where it's like I want to get the information in, but I don't really care like what these. I'm not going to sit here and enjoy it and savor it. I'm just gonna watch it quickly, and I was glad to have that that feature, on the thing. So I think
I love that you went at 1.25 speed through a 90-minute movie.
Well, it gets to be.
I don't blame you.
Closer to podcast time, and it's like, oh wait, I think I watched like a half hour the other day, but we got a podcast like tomorrow. Oh, shit, I gotta really watch this. You know what I mean? It's not like I was avoiding it. I just was like, oh yeah, we kind of decided like, only a couple days ago. So yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this feature since it's there. So that's all I said.
I mean, why not?
But I gave it a C.
I guess maybe I was being a little harsh because I agree with you. If we were to
sit down in a room and watch this as a bad movie night, I think we would have an awesome time. And I think we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the three of us, but I think with Lee.
Yeah.
Lee
and then Red Shirt Brian, we did it once because he stopped on the way to my house and bought the DVD. It was like $4.
And this movie's
bad
movie night or not, just movie wise, this is a better movie than Zardos. It's a funner, easier movie to watch.
Probably,
you at least understand it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if you want to, I guess you could understand it. You don't have to believe that sharks are going after people, but at least you know that this is what they're doing.
I'm a basic cable kid. I watched a bunch of movies on you. I watched Bloodsport. I watched fucking like a bunch of like made for basic cable TV movies, basically, even if they were released in the theaters, but they sure as hell ended up on USA Network. Like, this is a USA Network movie, so I give it a USA.
Oh, yeah.
Bad night.
A USA.
But I give the movie overall, like, honest opinion, a C, because I want to aggregate my number and to get that 0 up to at least a 3 or 5%. I mean, 0 seems a bunch. Seems harsh.
0 is tough. But I mean, you got, I guess, I don't know, back then, there was only a few critics and people probably haven't bothered to review as much since then. But I don't know. I'm glad we did it though. You're right. It's fun because like people talk about Christmas movies and whatever, and they're like, oh, Die Hard, Gremlins, and how would we do Jaws the Revenge?
Like any Shane Black movie.
Here we go.
A Christmas movie, right? Like Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie.
The Predator. Wait, no, that wasn't. We don't know. Maybe it was.
I mean, they never say what time of year it takes place, and they are in the jungle, so it really doesn't matter. No. So yes, that's the next movie we'll do. That
all right.
Christmas Predator.
The assumed Christmas movie.
I don't know. You guys think I'm being too positive about it, or do you know where I'm coming from?
No.
Actually,
I agree with you.
Glad.
Actually. Yeah, and I'm glad you. I'm glad you.
That's the exact feeling I was hoping that this movie would get. It didn't for me this time around, but I might have just not been in the
But
right
you've also seen it, like, ironic you've seen it a bunch of times to, sort of make fun of it or whatever.
Yeah, I probably could have. Yeah, I probably could have done this podcast without watching it again, most likely.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I'm like, I better watch it because I definitely did forget a few things.
And now, if it is on Netflix, we don't actually end up watching a lot of stuff. Well, maybe we do, but I don't end up watching a lot of stuff on Netflix. And I was like, oh, look at that! I can change the speed. Nice. I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
That's a real game changer there, I tell you. Well, anyways, that's our Christmas podcast probably for the year. Maybe we'll squeeze one more in. Who the hell knows? But you can always go back and listen to our other Christmas or our other Halloween or all of our podcasts, LeaguePodcast.com or wherever you
just
get your
look under
podcasts.
our Christmas robe.
Clay has done a very cool thing where, like, if you want to listen to like the Back to the Future podcast, you go to LeaguePodcast.com / is it just BTTF
I was like,
or
oh,
whatever?
please don't say it wrong. BTTF. But all the other ones are pretty intuitive. But it's actually in the navigation. So LeaguePodcast.com / Star Trek / Godzilla / Batman 89 / 007. So I try to pick like cool names, but have them be easy to remember.
Yeah, well, it's very cool. So you can cherry pick a little if you want, you know.
Now that we're an evergreen podcast,
go check them out. Yeah. So check those out. Check us out on YouTube and
thanks for all the Spotify plays and your Spotify raps. We did. Thanks for listening to Octopussy, which was our most popular episode on Spotify for some reason.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's why I tried to mention Octopussy in this one so that we'll get the numbers up.
The algorithm, yeah.
Sean Connery's head coming out of the little
I think it's the word pussy.
Float or whatever. Speaking it.
when they're at Junkaroo, he's also there. James Bond is in the background somewhere dancing.
It's the crossover event that no one
sure
knew
Hoagie
about.
is part of MI.
Nobody wanted
6 or whatever it is.
That's true. He's he's like 008 or 003.
Maybe
we know he's not 009. Oh, well, it's just me, 009.
I think they always say that Ian Fleming, I think Ian Fleming probably like ghost wrote the part of Hoagie to like really portray himself, as in the Jaws franchise as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally ghost wrote because he was dead, so he had to come back. And
literally ghost wrote.
It was an actual ghost, right?
Oh, that would. We don't know. If there's voodoo,
the amount of movies we have just come up with in this podcast that would be better movies than what we actually watch. Ian Fleming as a ghost writing a Jaws movie sells itself.
All right. Yeah.
Let's get on that.
I mean, if that writer's strike hadn't just ended, we should have been cleaning up during that thing.
I know. Jeez. Why didn't we do this one
Old Gil's
earlier?
Gonna make a sale.
All right. Anyway, go check us out. And if we don't see you or you don't hear from us before Christmas, have a great one. Have a great Hanukkah. Have a great
New Year. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy New Year. Have a great Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. All those things. Enjoy.
That's like the slow motion that they did in this movie.
Shake. Enjoy.
You know what? If you don't celebrate any of the holidays, go down to the ice cream store, get yourself a banana boat.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Adios.
Adios.